What better than a prop to start with? A Franklin
Yeah.
volleyball. FranklinSports.com. They're on board with us at 900 square feet. Really appreciate it. This ball's cool. It's NFHS approved. And hey, can I name drop?
Please.
Oh, so this past weekend, International Volleyball Hall of Fame, the Professional Association of Volleyball Officials were recognized. Wrong, one of these hands. There you go. The logo, PAVO. It's not one word. You say PAVO. Anyway, the hardball hitters were all there who were officials, like Katie Myers, who's in charge of this organization, Joan Powell, who's the coolest referee who ever lived, and Patty Rolfe came in, especially just for the ceremony. She had games the day before and the day after. Marcia Alterman, who I know you know, she oversees the Big Ten among other
Yeah.
leagues. And so last night, I'm at a match, at a high school match, and I had a question. I was like, I texted Joan Powell. I mean, I was like, how cool is that? And I got the answer. It was nothing big anyway, but it was like, it was very cool. Anyway,
I love
Franklin
that.
volleyballs.
That's the best. Devaney McClarty is my go-to for rules. She's the head of officials for now MLV. And she's funny. She's the best. I There's some refs that just like you see all the time and you're like, you're my person.
Yeah, well, she was up in the famous Texas match where Jared Elliott went off. Ask her about that sometime. And
Oh, I'm sure she was sassy right back. She's the freaking
oof,
best.
yeah, that was Um, uh, anyhow, let me go first about the Volleyball Hall of Fame weekend, if I may,
Yeah.
real quick. Uh, Fantastic weekend. Holyoke, Massachusetts is one of those places that I'm rooting for. Got the coolest mayor ever, and a guy named Josh Garcia. Um, One of those places that in the 1800s was such a great place, and it has hit hard times and is on its way back, doing good things. But it's also the site of the International Volleyball Hall of Fame. And this weekend, oh my gosh, Emily, not only were there nine inductees, the only one who couldn't make it was Ken Steffes, the only American going in, but this unbelievable induction class, others who were honored, including our friend Paul Sunderland, who got the award for media excellence. But the number one and number two from the FIVB, Fabio and Hugh
Yeah.
McCutcheon, number one and number two from Norseca, John Spara from USA Volleyball was there. It was just an unbelievable who's who of things. And the FIVB and the International Volleyball Hall of Fame signed a long-term agreement to become partners and move forward, which will really be a really, really good thing for both.
Yeah.
Not that the FIVB needs that much help from the Hall of Fame, but it's really cool. Anyhow,
Well, it's cool too to just build up, and this is something we talk about a lot in TV. Like, how do we build up stars and how do we build up legends? And that's a perfect example of how to do it. You have these people that are so well known in the sport that need to get that kind of recognition. So that's cool. And it looked like an awesome event.
yeah, and all of you who are volleyball fans, if you ever have the occasion, it's the middle of October every year. The weather was perfect, the leaves were changing, and the ceremonies are great, and it's just like a really fun volleyball gathering. And
Yeah.
I took that picture that I had in 900 square feet with four USA Olympic coaches: Doug Beal, Hugh McCutcheon, Mick Haley, and John Spara. I mean, and
Awesome.
they even said to John, "When's the last time you had this many USA Olympic coaches in a room?" And
Yeah.
probably when he had a meeting with Eric Sullivan and Karch Karai,
Yeah.
so it was really fun.
That's awesome.
Meanwhile, back on the NCAA front, you saw Texas again, and I know you have to be impressed by Texas, but not enough
Yep.
to sway your vote from
No.
Nebraska being number one.
No, not at all. I think, and we did it on our broadcast, like comparing Nebraska and Texas, and the dominance that Texas has, or that, sorry, the dominance that Nebraska has is just we don't really see in Texas. Texas has been dropping sets here or there. They've gone to 5 sets. You drop a set to a team like Alabama. We haven't seen anything like that from Nebraska, top to bottom. Right now, the Huskers look like the number one team. I've seen Texas actually a lot more this season. I've watched Nebraska a lot too in the beginning of the year and on TV. But Nebraska's not dropping sets. They haven't dropped a set in over a month now through, I think it's been 9 or 10 matches. And those are going up against ranked opponents too. And then, resume aside, when you look at, no losses, both one and two in the RPI and AVCA poll, our poll, everything like that, you break down their actual play. Nebraska is top of the country in both offense and defense. Texas has probably the number one offense in the country right now, but then defensively, they do not look very good. They let an Oklahoma team hit, I think it was 300 against them. They are, I don't want to say pitiful, but they're a pretty bad blocking team. And a lot of that is because they have a lot of freshmen in the starting lineup. But, they're averaging like 2 blocks a set right now, which is good for 10th, 11th in the conference. I think they had 3 blocks the other night against Oklahoma. Texas's defense really needs to be better, and it really starts with that front court. So yeah, to me, Nebraska, hands down, no question, looks like the number one team.
Yeah, see, and I stuck with Texas as my number one, and the reason I did was because Texas hasn't lost, and I voted Texas number one from our first poll, and hasn't lost. So
Sure.
and so and as I wrote this week, hey, you Nebraska haters, don't hate on me. I'm the same guy who brought you the Jordan Larson 900 square feet National Player of the Year award. It's
Well,
just
Texas also resume wise has more ranked wins, so I totally understand that.
yeah,
Just for me,
Texas
it's
has
an
it's a
eyeball
higher
test.
RPI.
Yeah, it's an eyeball test dominance thing for me. I think when you
100%.
look at the teams. Now that's not to say like I think Texas's ceiling could be a lot higher because you have younger players that are getting better. The Nebraska team we see, it's not like they're going to improve that much. They're already just that good, and the players have been playing for a while together.
Well, the RPI and the AVCA top 25 are finally getting in line with the 900 square feet top 16 media poll, where we went Nebraska, Texas, Pittsburgh, Kentucky, Arizona State, SMU, and I had moved Arizona State up to four.
I moved them up to 5, and that was a big jump for me. And honestly, I got some questions about like why I moved Arizona State so much and versus SMU. And honestly, I think because Arizona State, their only losses being to Pitt and Texas, looks like a really good team. I still have SMU at 9, and I don't have a good reasoning other than I would put them higher, but I think Stanford eye test looks like a better team, and Purdue beat them. So I gotta have the head-to-head matter in some way.
Yeah, no, I still think Stanford's ceiling is
Oh yeah,
higher than anybody's because they're just so young and there's still a lot of time to develop.
that's like
It's
Texas,
funny.
same thing.
The only time I actually got to watch Arizona State was when they were at Texas State and almost lost. Had a rally to win in five.
Well, they didn't have Noemi Glover, and the game that I called against Texas, which is the only time I've seen Arizona State in person, they didn't have her either, and it's one of their only losses. She's back, and they look really freaking good. And I don't know if they're going to lose another match in the Big 12. I would guess they probably won't.
I thought Miami, who I was giving all the love to and giving everybody else a hard time for
I
not, I didn't
know.
think they'd stay in our top 16. They came in at 16.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm sure everyone felt this way, but 14, 15, 16 was like you could throw pretty much any team up there and feel confident with it. I went Indiana, Miami, Tennessee. I don't like my Tennessee pick at 16. They just haven't really beat anyone, but I don't know. The other teams have lost so much. Well, also, we haven't even talked about the selection committee reveal.
Oh,
How the heck is
and
Minnesota
actually,
getting
I
in?
won't unless you make.
Well,
I just
no,
laughed
and
at the bottom of it.
I know, and I don't, I know that these people are only looking at resumes, and I totally get that, and they have a really hard job. But to me, I just don't think Minnesota has any business being a top 16 team. I know their RPI is high, but that is not a top
I'm on
16
the
team. I wouldn't even
NCAA.com.
put Penn State there either.
I'm on the NCAA.com homepage, and I can't even find the media reveal story. It just has their power. Michaela's top tens, her power
Yeah.
rankings. So I can't even debate it with you. I just remember rolling my eyes at the last five spots.
Yeah, and again, like they have a hard job. I totally get that, and RPI is a big factor. I just think that, I know that they're watching every game and all of that, but based on AVCA and our poll, the people that are really, really dialed into what these teams actually look like, and again, I get its resume, but just Minnesota and Penn State being there seemed seemed tough to me.
No, that I didn't like that.
Oh no.
A quick look through the standings, I thought it's really interesting. I mean, if you had said going in, we're almost halfway through the conference season, and North Carolina alone
Yeah.
at the top of the ACC at 8-0, and then Stanford Pitt at 7-1, and then Louisville SMU at 6-2. Um, have you watched Carolina at all?
I watched Carolina a little bit. Now, I will say, when you look at that 8-0 record, they have not played any of the top teams. The only team that they've played that would theoretically be better than them is Georgia Tech, where they won in 4. So that's a pretty good win. Other than that, they have not played one, quote, good team from the top half of the ACC. So they haven't, yes, they are near the top. That's great. But the back half of their schedule is incredibly hard. They still have Louisville, SMU, Pitt, Stanford all in a row. So might
Hmm.
get knocked down a few
Yeah,
pegs. And
they've got an
Miami.
outside hitter named Safi Hampton who's having a really big breakout season and just doing a
Yeah,
great job. Uh,
totally.
yeah, no, I wish I had more of a chance to see them, but alas.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Big 12, Arizona State only at 6-0 when other teams have played eight matches, including Colorado at 7-1. Colorado is, if you were going to pick like the five biggest surprises of the year,
Yeah.
Colorado is certainly one of them right now at 16-3 and 7-1, and just really nice team.
Yeah, and getting wins against good people, especially early on in the year, a team that you're never surprised to see them now upset one of the top teams in the Big 12, which is fun.
And I feel good for Jesse, their coach, because there's been the last few years, it always felt like take a step forward, take two or three back. And it was
Yeah.
just constantly. So good for them. The biggest surprise for me in the entire country at this point is Illinois.
Yeah.
I mean, Nebraska atop the league at 8-0, and then Illinois 7-1, and then the three teams at 6-2, Indiana, Purdue, and Wisconsin. And Illinois,
Illinois, I mean, they similar, I will say, to UNC, hasn't had the toughest schedule so far, but they did beat Purdue early on in the first week of conference play, which was really
at
that
Purdue,
solidifier at
right?
Purdue, which is incredibly difficult to do. And it was a top 10 Purdue team. Then they go on to get swept by Wisconsin, but they also have a really tough second half of the Big Ten. They have pretty much every team that's ahead of them in the rankings. They've got Purdue, Minnesota, Nebraska, Penn State, Wisconsin, UCLA, USC, Indiana. So they're going to have a tough stretch in the back half, but they're also a team that looks good. And if they can steal a few of those, is in a really good spot.
The SEC has fallen into place exactly as we probably would have predicted. Texas 8-0, Kentucky 7-0, Texas A&M 7-1, Tennessee 5-2, and then a bunch of teams fighting to see how many they can get in this year.
Yeah. I think that Kentucky Florida game was also ended up being pretty fun going
It
to five
was.
sets. And, anytime it was really fun day of volleyball. You had Kentucky Florida goes to five sets. That Pitt Louisville game, oh my God, was that fun?
Yeah, we were
That was like,
texting. Yeah, because it was like,
oh,
wow.
I mean, when you have a player like Olivia Babcock go off, it's always great. But when you have a player get 41 kills, setting a pit record, the most kills in a match this season for any team, and we were trying to put it into context, like taking 41 swings is a lot of swings, let alone 70 plus and having 41 kills. This girl is just, I don't know how she continues to do it. She is, I mean, to me, by far is the best player in the country.
Well, I think a lot of it is because in the eighth grade she played water polo, and that helped develop her skills and make her a better athlete. But I mean, not only did she have 41 kills, I mean, she only had 8 errors and 78 swings.
Yeah,
Okay. Her team took 163 swings. So that means she had half of them. She
it's
hit
insane.
423. She had two aces. She had four serving errors, but the ones
Yeah.
that she took that take a team out of system, that's not a
Yeah.
reportable stat. She has a solo block, floor block assist, and eight digs. And
And
she's a right side coming up with
I
all those
know.
digs.
She's a player where she's also getting a lot more swings. One of their outsides, who is taking the second heaviest load, has been out for Pitt. So it's kind of a question of like, okay, who's really gonna step up, knowing that Olivia Babcock always does. But it seemed like Babcock just basically took her load and added Moritz's load onto hers.
Yeah. Well, when you put the whole package together, the joke I made with you is that she's Otani like.
Truly, yeah.
No, she just, man, oh man. And
And in the big matches, she gets better, which just makes her that much more exciting.
yeah, and there are players, and we won't be disparaging of them, but there are players who are a hell of a lot better in the first four sets than they are in the fifth when their
Totally.
team goes to five.
Yeah,
There's a
100%.
lot of that.
Well,
Uh,
and taking a look at that match and then Louisville again, they've had four matches this year where they've been up 2-1 and they've lost all of them in five. So this is a Louisville team that I know is a bit inexperienced and that they lost Anna DeBeer, they lost Elena Scott, they lost a lot of these big time names that they had. They're incredibly well coached by Dan Meskey, but man, they got to figure out how to do well in a fifth set. And again, that comes down to experience and being in those situations, but Louisville's got to figure it
well,
out in a fifth set.
but just the opposite. When you watch them the last 4 years, Anna DeBeer sometimes wasn't
Yeah.
good in the first four sets, but man, there was nobody you wanted on your team than her than in the fifth because
100%.
she was just a flat out baller,
Yeah.
And the old expression was, "Can you give it to him on 3rd and 3?" I'd give it to Anna DeBeer on 3rd and 3 anytime.
Yeah.
Other players,
Totally.
Babcock is certainly one of those players. What do you make
Yeah.
Of Indiana at this point? We have them 14th in the poll.
Yeah.
Where did you put them, and what do you think of them right now?
I finally got to see him in person. I put him at 14th, just because they have big wins and their losses, aren't two of them aren't amazing, but I think they're doing really well right now. This was the first time I saw him in person against Purdue on Thursday. They looked pretty bad in that game, but most of that was because the passing was all over the place. I thought Purdue had a really good game plan of serving and blocking. Like Dave Shondell had that team completely locked in, and I think that was where Indiana's younger players, they're playing five freshmen consistently in the lineup, which is a lot to ask for. You have a freshman setter, freshman outside, like just all over the board. They have a lot of really young players. I think Indiana's offense can be really, really good. They run the fastest in the country from what I've seen. In the gym, TCU is pretty fast, but honestly, I think Indiana has them beat. The issue with Indiana is that if a team is serving them really tough, they are a good passing team, but it's hard to stay in system consistently, which is where they have a downfall. And then, that speed breaks up and they have a freshman setter who, the connections break down in those situations. To be honest, I thought the moment maybe looked a little too big for some of those younger players. They're playing in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. That was the first volleyball match that's ever been played. They're in front of thousands of fans, and it's the biggest rivalry they have. I just thought they didn't really rise up to the occasion where I thought Purdue did a freaking phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, anyway, I think Indiana looks good. I think they deserve to be a top 20 team. I think if they can hold what they've been doing, beat the teams they need to beat, and then maybe sneak one more upset in there, I think they'll be in a good spot.
Yeah.
They didn't look good on Thursday, though, I will say.
The middle of October for me is kind of like a line of demarcation. I know we talk about the season feeling like it's in three parts: the pre-conference and conference and postseason. For me,
Hmm.
it's kind of like the first half of the conference season is part two, the second half is part three, and then postseason is part four. The
Yeah.
reason I think that too is because a number of things come into play now. Number one, the weather changes; it gets colder, which consequently means more colds and illness and just things that happen because of that.
This is a hard part of the season.
It is. You get midterm exams, right? And then you also have the wear down and the fact that you're going to play some teams a second time, and the scouting is so advanced that they know. And so, for a lot of these young players, one who I'll be looking at more than any is Kari Spears from Texas to see how she does the second half. Now, on eyeball test, she looks so big and so strong and so well prepared that she should be fine. But we know from history that this next month, 5 weeks is really tough.
Yeah, I completely agree. And when you think about these young players, freshmen have never had to play a season this long. They're already in playoffs in high school by now. They finish usually the first week of November. If you're a top team, you're playing an additional 6 weeks on top of that, which is pretty insane. So not only do you have, that wear and tear aspect, but you also have other teams. Now they have a lot of film on you and they're able to scout you.
And the other things, they all started a week earlier this year too. Remember
All
they
started a week
away
earlier,
from that.
which
Yeah,
yeah, does not help that. And there are some players that you see kind of level off. We've seen it year after year. I think Kari Spears is doing a great job. One other player, Abby Vanderwall on their team, their other outside has been freaking lights out. She has basically almost doubled her efficiency from non-conference play to conference play. She's been a stud. That's been fun. But even, going back to a team like Indiana, like I wonder how a team that is so heavily reliant on underclassmen and freshmen, how they do in the month of November, and for a team that will probably be playing in December, there as well.
Take a look at the schedule. Oh, before I forget, the great referee Suzanne Lowry, who is just wonderful, and sent me this PAVO sweatshirt, by the way. And it's
Mm.
just it's a cool logo, and it fits properly, and it's still a great weight. So, Suzanne, thank you so much. And I did already thank her, but publicly, it's always nicer. Um, I may go tomorrow night, Wednesday. We're putting this together on Tuesday afternoon to watch Syracuse at Boston College because it's a night. It's I can get away, and I haven't seen BC in person. Watched them on TV, and not that I have any great desire to watch that particular match, but to go see both teams, and it's nearby. So that's my
Nice.
maybe. What did you see in the ACC this week coming up?
ACC this week, there's pretty much nothing until Louisville UNC on Sunday.
Stanford at Georgia Tech.
Okay, well,
You know
I
that
mean,
Georgia
sure.
Tech just is lurking. They're better than they're playing in the record. I just have this feeling they're going to have a good second half. Um,
They always figure out how to make the tournament and do well.
yeah, Louisville
Just
at North Carolina on Sunday. That's an ESPN
that's
game.
about it.
Yeah, no, but it's that time of the schedule. We were just saying we were looking at it, both of us before, going, I don't know about this. Uh,
Yeah,
Big 12
got a few good ones.
Wednesday. TCU at Kansas. Nice.
Good one.
Yeah. Utah at Cincinnati. Not a marquee game for us, but a big match for those two teams that have tournament aspirations and they're up and down.
Yeah,
Oh, Colorado at Texas Tech, only because if you've ever been to Lubbock, Texas, it's just hard to get to, and it's a trap game, right? It has to be. Um,
sure.
Arizona's better than I thought they were going to be this year. They go to Arizona State, Iowa State, BYU at Baylor on Thursday.
There's a lot of middle of the pack
Mm-hmm.
Big 12 games this week, which is
Yep. And
important.
BYU, talk about a tough trip.
Yeah.
BYU to Baylor, and then BYU on Saturday to TCU.
Yeah, and TCU's got Kansas and BYU this week too. So
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's a tough one. In the Big Ten,
not the
um,
most glamorous schedule, but games that kind of mean a lot.
absolutely. Well, I mean, when you think about how many teams are going to get in from all these conferences, there's a lot of matches that mean a lot because this tournament, more than any other, is going to be dominated so much by the Power Four uh,
Yeah.
and Creighton from the Big East. But there are not a lot of spots that are going to be lost to us. So when they talk about so-called on the bubble, there are not
Yeah.
a lot of mid majors right now that are putting themselves in position to get bids if they lose. It's
Yeah.
it's really going to be if you so many of those tournaments are just going to be one and in, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, then again, we talked about a team like Illinois. Like they've got Purdue this week. Can they get another win there? This one's at home on Friday. So, for a team that's been receiving votes or ranked in the top 25, has a pretty good RPI as well. They're pretty safe for the tournament right now, but if they can get a big win or two, it might bump them up a lot.
yeah. No, there are important matches to your point, but Minnesota at Indiana. Uh,
Which, according to the selection committee, is a potential match to decide who is going to get a top 16 seed if you're deciding between those two teams.
your Wildcats prime for the upset at Nebraska. Um,
Heck yeah, they are.
Purdue, Illinois, Washington, Wisconsin, which is not the same team without Charlie Furbinger,
No.
and goes to
They,
Washington. Very very tough place to play.
yeah, and Wisconsin's coming off of a loss to UCLA. I mean, I guess they beat USC, but you know, Wisconsin, they have Grace Egan back, which is huge to have another offensive weapon, but they really need Verbringer back. And I will say, someone posted a video of Charlie setting on the sidelines. She still didn't dress for the game or anything, but she was setting. So I don't know. Maybe it's an issue of like blocking or whatever with her shoulder, but I mean, they still aren't saying whether she's going to be back by the end of the year, but I really hope she is.
As
I have
someone
them
who,
against Nebraska next week, and I mean, I can't imagine she'd be ready to go by that, but that's a bummer because it could be a fast match.
as someone who has two shoulders being held together with Scotch tape and glue, Charlie, I feel your pain. Um, and what do we got in the SEC? I remember looking at it earlier and going,
Nothing good.
"There's not a ranked team playing a ranked team."
I've
Uh,
got Florida,
Everybody goes on the
Arkansas on
road.
Sunday.
You have who?
Florida, Arkansas.
I went to Fayetteville, Arkansas once, and I used to cover the SEC, so I went there a lot. Right, I saw a lot of basketball. I saw some football. I went there once and saw the sun. It was cool.
Oh, fun.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I haven't had Arkansas this year. Florida's very up and down, so
yeah.
we'll
That's
see.
unfortunately, I would have normally figured that in the preseason to be a marquee matchup, but it is not.
No, it is
Arkansas is
not.
having tough times. All the
Yeah.
all the ranked teams are on the road, and Kentucky at Mississippi State's a tough one. Um, I didn't even look to see what Creighton has this week, and I'm going to look real quick while we're doing this. But I do have to tell you a very important uh, um, thing about the Marblehead Magicians.
Oh my God, I'm on the edge of my seat.
Well, they will have played again by the time everyone sees this. They play a team called Danvers that they swept earlier this year. They
Wait,
got
this is the playoffs, right?
no, they're still regular
Oh,
season. They
oh my
improved to
God.
14-2 last night by sweeping Notre Dame Academy from Hingham, which is on the South Shore. Last year, Marblehead, which was went into the playoffs at like number 23 or 24 out of 32 teams, and had lost in five down there, and it was a really good high school match. Anyway, they came up here on Monday, and the Magicians swept. And then today, the new rankings came out, and they moved up to number 6, which
When the heck
means,
do playoffs start?
uh, I guess, at the end of next week.
How are they still? I feel like
Yeah,
most.
because they've got one more after tonight. They've got one more match, and that's against Swampscott, which is the next town over, which is actually where I live. There's so many things that are pronounced funny up here. Like I live in what you would say Swampscott, but it's Swampscott. And then the next town over is called Peabody, not Peabody. And then of course there's Worcester, but don't even go there. Anyhow, it's so exciting because in the first week of September, the Magicians were just dead in the water. They had nothing. And now they've won 9 in a row. They've only lost 2 sets in that streak. They're 14-2. They're on their way to the state tournament. They'll not only host a state tournament, but if they win, they'll get to play at home in a second round for the first time in school history, which is very cool. So, anyway, I'm done with
Nice.
that. All right. What do you got this week besides you got the one match?
That's literally it. I'm about to do a wardrobe refresh, go shopping, go film some content, and eat a good steak on Thursday. Trying out some cool Argentinian steakhouse. So that's my
I,
exciting week.
always good. I will tell you guys for basketball, and I was a college basketball writer for a very long time and covered basketball all over the country. People say, well, it's the best place to watch a basketball game, and everybody loves going to Duke. It's a nice experience, and there are other places that are great. There is nothing like Arkansas when the
Ooh,
Razorbacks are good and they call in the Hogs and this giant band they have and they run on the floor and the fans all get into it. They have like 90 private jets that show up for basketball games and woo, pig, suey. It's the coolest place. The arena is fantastic and it's just great.
all right, well, give me some food recs, most importantly, because
Yeah, I
I
finally
don't
got
know what the
I,
heck
I
is
typed
happening.
I finally got my fingers to work right and got Creighton up here. Let's see. They got Creighton's goes to Providence, which is just pitiful, and then goes to UConn. So Creighton,
Gross.
the whole thing for Creighton, it's the same thing every year. You wonder because how much preparation can they have? Because Marquette, this is not the Marquette of the last few years,
No.
but somehow, some way, I will not be surprised to see Creighton in the round of 8. Not at all.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you have any more words of wisdom for everybody?
Um, I just keep thinking about Olivia Babcock's 41 kills.
I just keep thinking
It,
Marvel.
oh, I didn't get to say hi because I jetted out, but Eric Sullivan did the first serve at the Texas game on Sunday, which was fun. And he was walking, and I don't know, last time I saw him, he was scooting around after he tore his Achilles, which I think he tore it while serving. And so watching him do the first serve, I was like on the edge of my seat, but he crushed it.
Of course, Austin is his home where he's lived for a long time. Uh,
Oh, last thing, Athletes Unlimited starts in Madison this weekend.
mhm.
So everyone make sure to watch
Wisconsin
that.
people come on out and watch them because they had 100 for one match in Omaha.
Yeah.
It's still hard to believe, but
If
it's
you're in the Madison area, go up and watch. I mean, you have freaking Jordan Thompson, Micah Hancock, all these freaking Olympians playing. Justine is playing. Like, get out there and watch. What are we doing?
if
That's
you're
all I
not a
got.
subscriber to 900 square feet, the only all the whole volleyball email, the link is in the description of this YouTube. Please sign up. You can go to 900 square feet on Facebook, Instagram, uh, the artist formerly known as Twitter, and find us there and sign up. It's free, and I work really hard at it, so I appreciate it. We have so many new subscribers. It's so cool. She's Emily Ehman of all sorts of things, ESPN, Fox, Big Ten Network, BBTV. Um, there you go. And the Magnificent Mile in Chicago, where she does a lot of damage on her days off.
I'm about to.
Bye.